In the mist-shrouded plains of Wiltshire, where ancient winds whisper through gnarled thorns, under a sky perpetually bruised with twilight's melancholy, the colossal stones of Stonehenge loomed like silent sentinels, their weathered faces etched with the sorrows of forgotten epochs. Around 3000 BCE, a Neolithic chieftain named Iloan gazed upon the barren henge, his broad frame bent by the weight of tribal visions. A man whose soul wrestled with the stars in different gaze, torn between leading his people in harmony with nature and the hubris of bending time itself to his will. Iloan, born under a comet's fiery tail that scorched his village's thatched roofs, had inherited a lineage of seers, his psyche fractured by prophetic dreams that blended celestial maps with portals to ancestral realms, doomed to a fate where his ambitions would summon forces that devoured his kin. As the first bluestones arrived from distant Welsh quarries, dragged by sweat-soaked labourers, whose chants echoed like laments in a cavernous void, Iloan consulted the elder shaman Thorn, a wizened figure with eyes like polished obsidian, his heart divided between sacred rituals and the terror of unleashing chronological chaos, fated to vanish into the mists during a solstice rite. Together, they aligned the stones with the sun's path, but whispers of a deeper purpose stirred. Could these monoliths pierce the veil of time, allowing glimpses of futures shrouded in gloom? One stormy eve, as lightning fractured the heavens like divine fissures, Iloan inscribed runes on a central altar, invoking energies that hummed through the earth, the ground trembling as if awakening from eternal slumber. The workers, their faces gaunt under flickering torchlight, endured visions of swirling vortices, bodies pulled into ethereal whirlpools, leaving Iloan haunted by the image of a child vanishing in a flash of azure light, her tiny form dissolving like mist in dawn's cruel embrace. Thorn warned of the peril, his voice cracking like dry branches, conflicted between preserving ancient lore and destroying the monument to avert catastrophe, his tragic essence in each hesitant step toward the circle. As the sarsen stones rose, colossal and unyielding, an eclipse darkened the sky, villagers gathering in fearful clusters, their shadows merging into a tapestry of dread. Iloan, standing at the heelstone, felt the pull a temporal rift opening briefly, echoes of future wars thundering in his ears, his inner war raging, mastery over destiny or slavery to its whims. The rite culminated in sacrifice, a willing elder laid upon the slab, blood pooling in grooves like rivers of regret, imprinting eternal sorrow as the stones absorbed the essence, glowing faintly under moon's pallid watch. Thorn, witnessing, recoiled, his fate sealed when the energies battlished, aging him decades in moments, body crumpling like parchment in flame. Seasons turned, the henge serving as observatory, tracking solstices where sunbeams pierced the trilithons like golden lances through hearts. Yet Eloan's experiments deepened, nights spent alone amid the circle, whispering incantations that warped reality's fabric. A vision assailed him, his tribe thriving, then annihilated by unseen plagues from displaced eras. The haunting scene of skeletal forms piled in barrows, eyes hollowed by temporal blight. His conflict peaked during a winter solstice, stars aligning in ominous patterns as he activated the supposed time machine, stones vibrating like captive thunder, a portal flickering open to reveal glimpses of Iron Age horrors. Villagers drawn near endured madness, one warrior clawing at his eyes, blood streaking cheeks like tears of crimson ink, a tableau frozen in gloom. Iloan, realizing the inescapable doom, attempted closure, but the rift claimed him, body twisting into nothingness, leaving the henge silent, winds carrying his final scream like a returnal dirge. Thorn's remnants, scattered bones amid the Aubrey holes, whispered warnings to successors. The monument, standing as both beacon and curse, its purpose veiled in baroque folds of time's despairing canvas. In the desolate expanse of Salisbury Plain, where the wind carries tales of antiquity and the earth remembers secrets best left buried, stands Stonehenge, an enigmatic sentinel of a bygone age. Its colossal stones, silent witnesses to the passage of millennia, have cast their shadows upon the mysteries of existence. Around 3000 BCE, in a time when the veil between the mundane and the mystical was gossamer thin, a small tribe thrived within the embrace of the ancient wood. Their lives were intertwined with the rhythms of nature, guided by the celestial tapestry above, and sustained by the wisdom of their shamanic elders. Among them was Elwin, a chieftain blessed with keen perception and burdened by the weight of his people's destiny. Elwin's lineage boasted a legacy of seers, those blessed and cursed with glimpses of the future. It was said that comets, those celestial harbingers of change, danced in the skies above his ancestors' villages, marking pivotal moments in their history. And so it was that when a fiery comet seared across the heavens, casting eerie glimmers upon thatched roofs, Elwin was born under its baleful glow. From his earliest moments, he bore the weight of his prophetic dreams, a burden shared by few. In his waking hours, he led his people with wisdom and valor. But when night fell and the moon cast its silvery spell, Elwin journeyed into the labyrinthine corridors of his subconscious. Therein, he navigated landscapes that defied the constraints of time and space. He traversed realms where the dead whispered secrets, and the future unfurled its enigmatic scrolls before him. These journeys were not solitary. He was accompanied by Thorn, a shaman whose life had been deeply entwined with the spiritual currents of their world. Thorn's eyes, deep-set and fathomless, held the wisdom of ages. They were mirrors reflecting not only the physical world, but also the ethereal planes where reality's boundaries dissolved. One fateful day, the tribe's sagas of old stirred within Elwin, tales of a time when men walked with the gods, and the very stones of the earth sang with celestial power. Inspired by these ancient narratives, he embarked on a pilgrimage to a place known as Stonehenge, a ring of standing stones that had slumbered for centuries. Here, beneath the canopy of the star-studded sky, Elwin's spirit soared. He saw in these ancient monoliths not just relics of the past, but keys to a deeper understanding of the universe. With Thorn by his side, he resolved to awaken Stonehenge from its slumber and harness its latent powers. The task was monumental. First, they needed to align the stones with the celestial bodies, an intricate dance of mathematics and astronomy. Then they must appease the spirits of the stones, a ritual steeped in tradition and fraught with peril. Yet Elwin was resolute. He felt a profound connection to Stonehenge, as though the stones themselves were calling out to him, beckoning him to unlock their hidden potential. As the sun began its slow ascent, casting long shadows among the stones, Elwin and Thorn commenced their ritual. The air grew thick with anticipation, charged by the convergence of human will and ancient power. With each step, Elwin felt the energy of the stones responding to their touch, humming in harmony with the celestial choreography above. Yet, as the ritual reached its crescendo, the veil between the mundane and the mystical thinned to a razor's edge, and in that moment of heightened sensitivity, they felt it, a disturbance in the very fabric of time. It was as if the universe itself was shuddering, caught between the familiar laws of physics and the unsettling intrusion of temporal anomalies. The ground trembled beneath their feet, a tremor that echoed the turmoil in their souls. Had they inadvertently unleashed forces beyond their comprehension? Fear gnawed at the edges of their determination. The immense responsibility of wielding such untamed power pressed down on them, threatening to crush their spirits. But amidst the fear, there was wonder, for in that same moment of cosmic upheaval, Elwin and Thorn glimpsed something extraordinary. They saw not just the immediate future, but a panorama of possibilities stretching across the vast canvas of time. They witnessed alternate realities, diverging paths where choices made and unmade had yielded vastly different outcomes. In one timeline, they saw their tribe flourishing, their territory verdant, their people living in harmony with the rhythms of the cosmos. In another, they saw darkness descending, a blight upon their people, their land withered and barren. As the full weight of their vision descended upon them, Elwin and Thorn realized the gravity of their situation. They were not merely spectators of time's grand tapestry. They were integral threads within it, their decisions and actions capable of shaping the very course of their tribe's destiny. The responsibility was daunting, yet they were resolute, guided by the wisdom gleaned from their visions and fortified by their unshakable bond. Elwyn and Thorn resolved to navigate the treacherous currents of time. They would strive to steer their tribe towards the light of prosperity, while guarding against the looming shadows of impending doom. Thus began their arduous journey, a cosmic tightrope walk between the allure of prosperity and the spectre of annihilation. Theirs was a saga woven from the very essence of time, a testament to the indomitable spirit of those who dared to peer into the abyss of eternity. Welcome, seekers of hidden histories, to this place where the land remembers more than it can ever tell. Join me on a pilgrimage back to the dawn of time, when we walk the very paths trodden by our ancestors in prehistory. Let us step together into the timeless void and relive the lives of the people who first conceived of the great mysteries around them. For there we will find the answer to what the Druids once knew, and what even now some few still understand. Amid the fog-veiled downs of medieval Salisbury, where raven calls pierced the damp air like accusations from the grave, under clouds heavy with unwept rain, Druid priestess Morrigan wandered the overgrown Stonehenge, her cloaked form a shadow of ancient rites. Her spirit was torn between reviving lost wisdom and the dread of awakening temporal demons that hungered for souls. Visions swam before her, eyes watching from the grave as the Druids fell. Morrigan, descended from Celtic lineages scarred by Roman conquests, possessed visions that blurred past and future. Her psyche was a storm of devotion, clashing with isolation's chill, doomed to persecution's flames in an age of Christian zeal. By 500 CE, as Arthurian legends wove through Britain's gloom, she gathered acolytes under moonlit stones, interpreting alignments as celestial clocks, yet sensing deeper vortices where time folded like crumpled velvet. Her mentor, the aged bard Taliesin, with voice like rustling leaves in autumn decay, shared scrolls of Merlin's lore, his heart divided between poetic prophecy and fear of chronological unraveling, fated to exile in Welsh wilds, voice silenced by throat's betrayal. Together they performed equinox ceremonies, fires crackling like breaking bones, the Haing's avenues channeling solar rays that danced on dew-kissed grass. But Morrigan's curiosity deepened, touching bluestones that hummed with residual power, evoking flashes of Neolithic eras. Her conflict intensified, observer of stars or manipulator of epochs. One harvest moon, as owls hooted like spectral judges, a rite invoked the portal, stones groaning under invisible weight. A young acolyte stepped through, briefly returning, aged and babbling of steam-belching machines, his hair whitened like frost on grave markers. Horror imprinted on his face as he collapsed, eyes staring into abyssal voids. Taliesin recoiled, horrified, urging destruction of the gateway, but Morrigan pressed on, her tragic path unfolding in visions of burning at stakes, flames licking robes like lovers, caresses turned vile. Centuries later, in the 1720s Enlightenment shadows, antiquarian William Stuckley sketched the ruins, his quill scratching like claws on coffin lids, his rational mind warred with romantic mysticism, doomed to obscurity's embrace despite pioneering alignments. Stuckley saw observatory functions, solstice suns rising over hailstones like divine eyes awakening. Yet occult whispers hinted at time's machinery, his surveys enduring sandstorms of doubt. He stood alone in clerical chambers, books piling like barriers against encroaching madness. In the 19th century excavations, Colonel William Hawley unearthed barrows, his spade biting earth like a thief in the dead of night. His adventurous soul clashed with health's slow decline, fated to incomplete digs and forgotten reports. Amidst rains that turned pits to muddy graves, artifacts emerged, antler picks and cremated bones. One worker slipped into a collapse. His body was retrieved, twisted like roots in the soil, a haunting emblem of buried secrets. Holly's conflict peaked, discovering Aubrey holes as post settings, perhaps temporal anchors. Visions plagued him of prehistoric travelers lost in loops of time, leading him to a fatal obsession. By the 1960s restorations, Sir Richard Atkinson theorized construction phases, his scholarly precision torn by imaginative leaps. Controversy over bluestone origins had him branded a maverick. Radar scans revealed hidden circles, echoes of energy fields. Technicians' faces pale in the equipment glow as anomalies spiked like heartbeats from beyond. In quiet labs, debates raged, observatory for eclipses or gateway-defying physics. Atkinson's later years were shadowed by unanswered queries. His death was a quiet fade, like the setting sun behind the trilith. Yet, amidst the march of progress, the stones themselves remained shrouded in mystery. And so we come full circle to Morrigan and Taliesin, whose sacrifices echoed through the ages. Their footsteps remain imprinted on these hallowed grounds, their spirits whispering on the wind. They remind us that the true nature of this place lies dormant, waiting patiently beneath layers of time for us to awaken it with reverence and respect. Only then can we hope to glimpse the profound wisdom held within its timeless embrace. Morrigan, the druid priestess, yearned to breathe life back into the ancient ways, a beacon in the darkness of a dying age. But her passion was a double-edged sword, drawing her closer to the precipice of oblivion. With every sunrise, she walked a tighter rope, balancing devotion to the old ways with the mounting dread of becoming its latest casualty. The very stones that offered solace also bore witness to countless generations lost to the shifting sands of time. Each sunrise brought her closer to the brink, the intoxicating allure of forbidden knowledge pulling her toward the edge of oblivion. As visions of the future clouded her mind, Morrigan found herself suspended between two worlds, the decaying remnants of the old and the inexorable rise of the new. The weight of centuries pressed upon her shoulders, the echoes of past mistakes resonating in her bones. Sleep offered no respite, for in dreams she relived the agony of her ancestors, their fears and hopes bleeding into her own psyche. Meanwhile, the aged bard Taliesin pored over crumbling scrolls, seeking guidance amid the fading embers of tradition. With each passing day, the flames of inspiration flickered lower, threatening to be extinguished entirely. His heart ached with the burden of preserving a dying culture, his weathered hands tracing the faded ink, as if to coax the spirits of the past back into mortal form. Then came the fateful night, when Morrigan and Taliesin stood hand in hand before the silent stones, their silhouettes stark against the dying embers of the bonfire. As the flames reached their zenith, they raised their voices in unison, chanting an invocation to bridge the yawning chasm between past and present. The air crackled with anticipation, the very essence of the cosmos responding to their fervent plea. But their triumph was short-lived, for as the first tendrils of dawn crept over the horizon, they felt the icy grip of fate tighten around their hearts. The portal stirred, a vortex of raw temporal energy opening just enough to offer a glimpse of what lay beyond. With trembling hands and bated breath, they peered into the swirling abyss, and what they saw chilled them to the bone. On the other side of the divide, they witnessed the gradual erosion of their way of life. They saw their people falling prey to the seductive whispers of change, abandoning the old ways for the supposed comforts of modernity. The future stretched before them, bleak and unforgiving, a desolate landscape devoid of the vibrant tapestry of tradition that had sustained them for so long. As the first rays of sunlight touched the horizon, signaling the end of their ritual, Morrigan and Taliesin knew their time was running out. The portal thrummed with unstable energy, its presence growing more turbulent by the second. They had glimpsed too much, seen the inevitable fate that awaited them, and their kind, unless drastic measures were taken. With newfound urgency, they resolved to use their remaining time wisely. Morrigan, her spirit unbroken, vowed to pass on the flickering flame of their heritage to the next generation. She would become a guiding light, a beacon of hope in an increasingly dark world. Meanwhile, Taliesin retreated into the sanctuary of his studies, poring over ancient texts in search of a solution to their predicament. As days turned into weeks, the pressure mounted. The portal's instability threatened to consume them, its turbulent energies seeping into their waking hours and tainting their dreams. Morrigan's efforts to mentor younger disciples were met with skepticism and fear, their closed minds resistant to the wisdom she so desperately wanted to impart. Even as the world around them crumbled, they clung tenaciously to the familiar, unwilling to acknowledge the encroaching darkness. Taliesin, on the other hand, found himself on the verge of a breakthrough. The ancient scrolls whispered secrets just beyond his grasp, tantalizing him with glimpses of a forgotten language that held the key to their survival. But as he neared the truth, the portal's influence grew stronger, casting long shadows over his mind and clouding his perception of reality. The weight of their impending doom pressed heavily upon them, shaping their actions and sealing their fates. With each passing moment, the clock ticked relentlessly forward, its rhythm echoing the relentless beat of their failing hearts. The end drew ever closer, threatening to engulf them in its merciless embrace. As the final days ticked away, Morrigan and Taliesin were forced to confront the harsh realities of their situation. Their efforts to preserve their heritage seemed futile, their warnings of impending doom ignored. The portal's instability reached a fever pitch, its turbulent energies warping their world and blurring the lines between past, present, and future. In the face of certain annihilation, they made a pact, a desperate gamble, to secure a future for their bloodline and safeguard the wisdom of their ancestors. Morrigan, with her unwavering devotion, would throw herself into the maelstrom of temporal chaos, attempting to stabilize the portal and carve out a haven for her followers. Meanwhile, Taliesin would entrust the remnants of their knowledge to a chosen few, ensuring that the flame of their heritage would continue to burn, albeit faintly, in the darkest of times. Their parting was bittersweet, a solemn farewell steeped in the somber understanding that their paths diverged not by choice, but by necessity. As the final moments approached, they exchanged one last glance, a silent promise to carry on the fight for survival, each in their own way, until the very end. And so it was that Morrigan and Taliesin faced their destinies head-on, their courage shining brightly in the encroaching gloom. With the weight of generations pressing down on them, they took their final breaths, their spirits merging with the ancient stones, becoming one with the timeless wisdom they had dedicated their lives to preserving. In the wake of their sacrifice, their followers scattered, driven by grief and fear, carrying with them the fading embers of their heritage. But the stones stood resolute, silent witnesses to the struggles and sacrifices of those who had come before. They continued to whisper tales of a bygone era, waiting patiently for the day when the threads of time would align once more, allowing the true nature of their purpose to be revealed anew. As the echoes of the past reverberate through the ages, the story of Morrigan and Taliesin serves as a poignant reminder of the resilience of the human spirit in the face of overwhelming odds. Their unwavering commitment to their beliefs, even in the darkest of times, continues to inspire awe and wonder, reminding us that the pursuit of knowledge and understanding is a timeless endeavor that transcends the boundaries of space and time itself. Join me next time as we venture into the heart of another enigmatic archaeological site, seeking to unravel the hidden stories that lie dormant within. Until then, may your own journey through life be filled with curiosity, courage, and an unquenchable thirst for discovery. Thank you for joining me today. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it with others who may be fascinated by these ancient mysteries. Your support means everything to me. In the muted dawn of 2025, Wedu clung to ancient lichens like tears unshed under horizons streaked with industrial haze. Archaeologist Ilara Voss stood amid Stonehenge's embrace. Her keen eyes scanned laser maps, her soul fractured by empirical quests clashing with ancestral pulls from druid bloodlines, doomed to revelations that shattered her world. Ilara, heir to forgotten seers, pursued truths in academia's sterile halls. Her psyche, a whirlwind of logic versus mysticism, fated to a dig's catastrophic unveiling. Recent sonar surveys unearthed subterranean chambers, voids pulsing with unexplained electromagnetism, her team enduring equipment failures like sabotage from ethereal hands. Colleague Dr. Harlan Reed, a skeptic with hidden occult fascinations from youthful experiments, argued observatory alignments, lunar standstills, tracked with precision, yet sensed temporal anomalies. His heart divided between fame and fear, doomed to disappearance during tests. Together, they activated a reconstructed rite, aligning with solstice under stormy skies, stones vibrating as if alive, a rift flickering open briefly. Harlan stepping near, vanishing in a swirl of chronal mist, his scream echoing across epochs, imprinting Ilara with the vision of his form dissolving like ink in water, hands outstretched in futile plea. The purpose crystallized, not mere observatory, but Neolithic time engine, harnessing ley lines and solstice energies to traverse errors, yet cursed with instability that claimed lives. Ilara's conflict raged, publishing findings amid backlash, visions haunting her of builders' tragic ends, societies collapsed by displaced plagues. In Paris labs, quantum theorists like Professor Lydia Crow modeled the machine, equations sprawling on boards like veins in marble. Her brilliant mind torn by ethical voids, fated to madness from simulated loops. Crow's simulations showed portals to Bronze Age, but feedback loops unraveling reality, one-run crashing systems in sparks, her face illuminated in fiery glow like a martyr's halo, leaving her institutionalized, whispering of infinite regressions. Ex-posts from 2025 buzzed with theories time travelers influencing history. UFO links users' fervent debates, a digital gloom of belief and denial. Ilara's final expedition, probing the Heelstone, triggered a surge, ground splitting like wounded flesh, her body pulled into the vortex, emerging in prehistoric wilds, alone with builders' ghosts, her tragic isolation eternal. The monument endures, tourists gazing unaware, mists concealing rifts where time bleeds. Was it Star's watch or chronal gateway? The gloom persists, a baroque lament of ambitions defying fate, characters' depths drowning in temporal abysses, inner storms eternal against stone's unyielding silence. The year is 2025. Our story begins with Ilara Voss, a young archaeologist haunted by ancestral echoes, her druid bloodline whispering of old magic. Fate draws her to Stonehenge, where she leads a dig unearthing more than relics of the past. With each passing day, the stone's secrets weave an enigma, compelling Ilara and her colleagues deeper into their timeless grasp. As excavations near the Heelstone reveal anomalies, including a buried chamber, Ilara senses forces beyond the tangible, akin to the inexplicable occurrences plaguing her own bloodline for generations. Dr. Harlan Reed, Ilara's colleague, anchors himself in skepticism, approaching the mysteries with scientific pragmatism. Yet beneath his rational exterior, echoes of youthful dabbling in the occult linger, hinting at a more complex reality. Together, they decipher cryptic clues, aligning astronomical observations with the solstices and uncovering evidence of an advanced understanding of electromagnetism in our ancestors. Their findings hint at a purpose behind the monument that extends beyond a burial ground or ritual site. As Ilara and her team prepare for the winter solstice, the stakes rise. A reconstruction of ancient rites reveals a hidden alignment with the stars, pointing towards a nexus of ley lines converging at Stonehenge. This convergence, coupled with the solstice, seems to amplify energy at the Heelstone. But as they delve deeper into the enigma, their equipment mysteriously fails, suggesting a force disrupting their investigations. During tests, Harlan vanishes into a temporal anomaly, disappearing without a trace as he steps into the swirling vortex of chronal energy. Harlan's disappearance shakes Ilara to her core, leaving her grappling with guilt and determination to find him. His parting words, "It's too late for me, but you can still stop it," echo in her mind, urging her to prevent whatever fate befell Harlan from befalling herself. Guided by Harlan's notes, Ilara deciphers the full extent of Stonehenge's power, realizing its role as a time engine, a device capable of traversing eras. However, this revelation comes at a cost, for with each jump through time, unintended consequences ripple through history. Now, the weight of potential paradoxes and alternate histories presses upon her, forcing her to confront the profound implications of meddling with the very fabric of time. The closer Ilara gets to unraveling the secrets of Stonehenge, the more the line between the natural and the supernatural blurs. Visions of the monument's builders, their triumphs and ultimate demise, plague her dreams, suggesting a tragic end for those who dared to harness time's power. Haunted by these visions and determined to save Harlan, Ilara races against time. She assembles a new team of experts, each bringing unique skills to bear on the enigma. They include Dr. Theo Shaw, an enigmatic historian specializing in fringe theories, and Professor Evelyn Wright, a renowned physicist willing to venture into the realm of the unknown. Together, they piece together the final elements of the time engine's mechanism, realizing that the builders vanished due to unintended consequences of their own time travels. As the team prepares to activate the engine, they face fierce opposition. Ancient sites are often shrouded in mystery and controversy, and the implications of their discovery threaten to upend established history. They must navigate academic politics and skeptics who would discredit their findings, all while guarding the secret of Stonehenge's true nature from falling into the wrong hands. The climax finds them at the winter solstice, prepared to activate the time engine. But as the moment of truth arrives, they face a choice. With the power to rewrite history, they must decide whether to alter the past or preserve it, knowing that each decision could have unforeseen consequences. The implications of tampering with the past resonate deeply, raising questions about the nature of time and the limits of human ambition. As they stand at the precipice of altering history, they must confront not only external forces, but also their own internal struggles and the sacrifices they're willing to make for the greater good. The ending finds Ilara grappling with the aftermath of their journey through time. Returning to the present, she discovers that her actions have had both intended and unintended consequences, shaping the world in ways she never anticipated. The ambiguity of the ending invites speculation about the nature of time travel and the butterfly effect, highlighting the idea that even the smallest changes to the past can have profound impacts on the future. Ilara's personal growth is another focal point as she confronts the sacrifices made and the choices faced during their mission. She emerges transformed, carrying the weight of her experiences and the knowledge that the true nature of Stonehenge may forever remain a secret. The novel concludes with a reflection on the themes explored throughout the narrative: the blurred lines between science and magic, the allure of forbidden knowledge, and the courage it takes to confront the unknown. The story serves as a reminder of humanity as enduring fascination with time and the mysteries of our universe. If you enjoyed this tale, please share your thoughts. Your support means everything. Thank you for joining me on this journey through time and archaeology. Remember, some secrets are best left undisturbed, but the allure of the past is a siren's call we may not resist. Until next time, keep exploring the mysteries that surround us. Stay curious, stay open-minded, and always remember there may be more to our world than meets the eye.